Hello everyone, welcome to this week's watch list preview. Here's a look at the watch list for this week. We have you guys that like to play the short or puts. We have a few of those. Actually, most of the list is looking for plays to the downside. We're really extended. I'm just going by what the charts are saying. Not saying that we're gonna pull back, but not a lot of really pretty weekly charts out there that I like. Uh, so not saying we're not gonna keep running to the upside, but just looks like charts look more like they want to pull back than they want to go up. So, but as we've seen the last few years, just because it looks like it might want to pull back doesn't mean it will. So. But let's take a look at this. JetBlue. I'm not a big fan of it playing airlines, but JetBlue. We look at the weekly. We have an inside. Let's look at a little further out. Not too good on the year. It's green, but it's an ugly looking candle. So the year doesn't look too good. Quarter doesn't look good at all. The month, we were inside month. Nothing to say that we're going to turn around and bounce here. We did have an inside candle, almost a doji candle last month. So that could indicate that maybe we might be trying to bounce, but that doesn't. All it means is indecision. All this candle means is people aren't really sure what's going on right now. They're not sure if it's gonna go up or go down. These sometimes, oftentimes can lead to a reversal, but they can also continue downside. So if we look at the weekly, here's what we're looking at. We're kind of stuck in this range here the last several weeks, basically a $2 range. But I'm looking for a break below this inside candle here, 1483. Target 1 is going to be the low of this candle, 1444. Target 2, 1403. Target 3 is going to be 1396, the low of this candle. I know that doesn't sound like much. We're not even a dollar range from the trigger to target 3, but we're looking at a $14 ticker. So a dollar range on a $14 ticker is a little significant. You're looking at 1%. 1% move. People love to get in on a 1% move on Apple. So 1% move on JetBlue would look good. Microsoft. This one here is kind of tricky. The reason I say it's tricky is because it's been so good. Look at the year. Look at the quarter. Look at the month. Granted, this month, we're only a couple days into this month, but it's so hard to bet against Microsoft right now. But if you look at the weekly, we had an inside candle last week that pulled back. This could go either direction. If it does pull back, if the overall market pulls back, then yeah, this could pull back, potentially pull back to, even all the way down here. That would take a big move in the market to do that. You see, ever since here, we've just been going up and up and up. We may see a pullback, maybe down to the 9 EMA, down to the low of this candle. I don't foresee any big pullbacks. So if I do trade this to the downside, it's going to be a quick trade. It's not something I'm going to stay in for a couple days. I don't see this pulling back very far unless we have, some major pullbacks in SPY and Qs and the overall market. So trigger is going to be a break below $300.18. Target 1 is going to be the low of this candle at 296.83. I didn't put a target 2, but if I were to, the reason I didn't is because the next target is going to be way down here on the 288. Pretty big move. Even if you look at the weekly, next target is this 288. So we don't really have any targets in between here. Now, if we went to the 4 hour or the 2 hour, if you look at the 4 hour, target 1's here. You could look at this as target 2 here. Target 3 is still down at 288. You look at the 2 hour, target 1's here. Target 2 could be here. Target 3 could be here. So there are targets. If you go way down, start going way down in the time frames, there are more targets, but I'm not going to list them all. There's too many different time frames that I could put targets on. So I'm trying to keep it a little more simple, because you start adding all that stuff, it's just going to get confusing. You can use your own judgment. If we hit target 1, start looking at lower time frames for more targets. To the upside, we're looking for a break above 305.19. Previous high is 305.84, all-time high. At this point, you can see what I wrote here. Further targets up past that, because the way Microsoft's been running, if it breaks this high, look at this chart. I mean, this thing could keep running for weeks or months even. So we don't really have a target per se. So if it breaks this and you're long, look for maybe the top of the broadening formation. Watch it, as we go out, this broadening formation keeps going higher. Watch for it to test the top of the broadening formation, maybe up around 310, 320. And I'm just saying numbers. It depends on what day it is as to where that level is going to be. But look for it to maybe reject off the top of the broadening formation further down the road. You could also look for a break below the 9 EMA on a lower time frame. You don't want to do it on a weekly, because that's a pretty far pullback for a stop out, or however you want to look at it. If you break above here, your trigger's way up here. You're still looking at, by then the 9 EMA might be up here. You still going to be looking at a losing trade if you break above this. It's going to depend on where the 9 EMA is as to whether or not you use that. And another one would be look for a reversal signal. This here could have been a reversal signal. When this candle opened and pulled back, you got a 2 down. Before this was a 3, it was a 2 down. So you could be looking at a 2 down. That's your reversal signal, time to get out. Same with this one. Break below this is your signal to get out. So that's how you can look at it. How you can look at Microsoft or any stock when it's hitting all-time highs. That may be the best way to be able to try to find an exit when you're at all-time highs. Next one's going to be Micron. I'm not a big fan of trading Micron, but let's see what it does here. On the year, it's not too pretty. We're looking at shooting stars. It's trying to form a shooting star in a year. On the quarter, looks pretty ugly. On the month, looks pretty ugly. On the week, so obviously I'm looking for something to the downside. I have no reason to believe this thing is going to turn around and go to the upside, so I'm not looking for anything to the upside. So looking for a break below 72.31. Target 1, if you come down to the daily, is going to be 71.70. Not a huge move, but this is a good place to put a stop. If you get down past this, maybe down in this range, you can move your stop to here. Initially, you're going to move your stop to break even. Once you get past this point, put your stop at break even. But once you get down, maybe mid-range here, move your stop to here. And then target 2 is going to be down here at 68.90. As far as stops go, it depends on how you want to look at it. You can look at your triggers here. You could look at maybe the low of this candle is a stop, maybe the open of this candle is a stop. You could look at the weekly, your triggers here. What's your stop going to be? You don't know where it's going to open Tuesday morning, so you could look at Tuesday morning's open. Depends on how that candle shapes out when it opens. it's kind of how you kind of have to look at stops. Depends on your aggression level. Pepsi, we're looking at to the upside on Pepsi, looking good on the year, looking good on the quarter. All that has pulled back a little bit. Oops, I went back to the year again. Month, we're on an inside month. Remember, the month's only a couple days old, so we're going to have a lot of inside months on a lot of candles, so a lot of stocks. So don't worry about it being inside month right now. I wouldn't be too concerned with that. We did have a 2-up spinning top last month. You go to the weekly. It looks like a lot of indecision here, a lot of congestion. I didn't actually put this one on a break above the weekly candle because there's a broadening formation here, and this is automatically charted, so I don't know where they based it off of, but I'd rather see a break above this candle here. We break above this candle, look for a target up here, but to try to keep with my system, I'm gonna, the trigger's actually here 158.19 with the initial target of 158.52. Be careful of this broadening formation here, and be careful of this high here. If I were going to trade this, I'd probably only buy maybe one contract, and once we broke this, then I'd look to add a few, and not just breaking it by 3 cents. I'd look for maybe a 50-cent break above it, maybe at 159, maybe even 160 because of the number, but 160, you're all the way up here past target too. So this one be a tough one to trade. I don't like how choppy it is in here. This is just a mess. You could trade the range. If we start to pull back, you could trade this range from let's just say here to here. Just go short here, trade it down to, be careful this low here, but look for a trade it down to here, back up. But I don't trade that way, so I'm not going to try to give advice, or not going to try to give any direction on that, because I'm not a channel trader. So but that's the watch list for this week, and that's what I'd look for. Good luck to everyone. It's, take a look at SPY and Qs, and let's just see where we are, how those charts look for the week. Actually looks good for the week. Looks good for the month so far. Daily's kind of chopping a little bit, but yeah, looks good on the week on Qs. SPY looks good on the week for SPY. Day's kind of chopping. It's kind of like a slow grind up. And I start to get a little bit careful right in here, because even though it's still going up, if you look at the weekly chart, weekly looks like it's great. You look at the daily, it's kind of a little bit choppy there. Look at the 4 hour. Look at all this chop here in the 4 hour, 2 hour. A lot of chopping. We had some movement here, but still quite a bit of chop in the 2 hour. I mean, if you look at this, 450, 405 down to 452. It's only a $2 range for the last 2 days. That's not a lot. So this does give me some clue that we're kind of running out of steam here, and we're either catching our breath for the next push up, or we're going to look to start taking some profits. So just be careful this week. I don't usually have the majority of my list to the downside, but I do this week. So just be careful out there. Thanks for watching. Good luck everyone this week, and post your results below. Let me know if you made money on any of these. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.